Hello, and welcome to LABrary. I am Miss Kathleen if you haven't joined us before, and today we're going to explore some new concepts. In LABrary, we talk about the world around us and how it works with us interacting in it. Later, I'll share a challenge or two for you to take, and hopefully you'll share your experiences with us by either emailing me at kathleen@mld.org or through social media at Meridian Library. Today, we are going to explore capillary action. Let's spell capillary. C-A-P-I-L-L-A-R-Y. So you ask, what is a capillary? Well, plants have capillaries and animals, including humans, have capillaries as well. And they serve similar functions in plants and animals in that they help to move nutrients through our systems to get us either the water or the nutrients that our body needs or that the plant needs. I like to look at the etymology of a word. Etymology just means the origin or where a word comes from and what parts come from where. So I looked up the word capillary, and it comes from the Latin capillus or capillaris, meaning hair. In Italian, the word for hair is capelli. One hair is a capello. So does the word origin tell us something about the size of capillaries? I think that it does. It tells us that they're very, very thin. Take a look at your own hair. Okay, so capillaries are thin. What function do they serve? Well, in plants, capillaries bring water up from the roots into the parts of the plant that need it. In humans, capillaries bring up oxygen, nutrients, and waste are exchanged between the blood and the tissues. Humans have vast networks of capillaries in our bodies. In fact, this might be hard to imagine, but we humans have around 10 billion capillaries in our bodies. They're the smallest of the blood vessels that we have in our bodies. Think about it this way. Capillaries in the human body are only 1 cell thick. So blood moves very slowly through capillaries. As the blood cells move through a capillary, nutrients, oxygen, and food leave the blood and then enter the body's cells. And then gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide and nutrients and wastes pass in both directions, so coming and going, along or across the capillary walls. I know that's a lot of information, so let's summarize. Capillaries help the body to get the nutrients it needs and to get rid of waste it doesn't need. We're talking about capillary action in plants. There are a couple of words that will help us to understand what's happening and how the water goes into the capillaries in a plant. So the first word is called cohesion. That's when alike molecules stick to each other. In this case, it's the water. So the water molecules are sticking to each other. And then the other word is called adhesion. And that just means that the capillaries in the plant roots adhere to the water, or the water adheres to the plant capillaries. And when they cling to and are forced upward by the surface tension of the capillary, that equals the capillary action. So that's how the water is getting forced up into the tree or the plant. In the case of our diagram, we used a tree, but that's what's happening. So when, we've all put a straw into water, I put a little bit of coloring in the water so that you could see it easily. So when we put a straw into water, there is something happening with the water molecules inside the straw. The water molecules are adhering to the inside of the straw. So the level of the water inside the straw is slightly higher than it is in the water glass. And I'm sorry I don't have a clear straw, so you can't see, but I put my finger over the top so you can at least see that there's quite a bit of water in there. This is something that you could do at home. Challenge number 1. Okay, if you have a clear drinking straw, then you can try that at home. So our challenge, our big challenge for this week is to make a walking water experiment. There's kind of a fun component to this, an extra fun component that involves color chromatography, because we're going to be using water and food coloring, and several glasses and paper towels. So we know how absorbent paper towels are, right? And their structure is made so that they'll absorb as much water as possible. So I have this water here, and I'm going to show you what happens when I put the paper towel down into the water. Quickly, it goes right up to the top, doesn't it? There's a little bit of color chromatography happening. There's more orange at the bottom than there is at the top. But the important thing that I want you to see here is that it's really absorbent. Well, this is capillary action happening. And what I want us to do in our experiment, our challenge for the week, is to have several glasses. And I want you to take your paper towels and fold them in half lengthwise, and then fold them again. They're going to have one end in one cup of water and one end in another one. And the water is going to walk or crawl up one side, and then what do you think will happen? Do you think it'll go into the other glass? So we're going to leave one glass empty. I'm going to show you what it could look like, okay? You don't have to use all 7 glasses, and I may not, but as many glasses as you have, put the same amount of water in each glass, put several drops of food coloring into each glass, and then one in the middle is going to be empty, except for it's going to have the paper towel in it. And we'll see what happens. Look at the color chromatography happening. Interesting. Okay, so this is not food coloring. So we'll see what happens with food coloring. All right, I'm going to show you what my little experiment laid out looks like. Okay, so here are 5 glasses that are all the same type of glasses. I don't have any water in my glasses yet, but what you'll do is fill your glasses full of the same amount of water, except for this one here in the middle. This one will have no water in it. And then you will put your paper towels in after they have water and food coloring in them, okay? So paper towels go in last. The only reason that I put them in there is because I wanted to show you kind of how they snake in and out. All I did was take a piece of paper towel like this for each one of those, folded in half and then in quarters, and then folded it in half lengthwise. Then one half goes in one glass, and one half goes into the next one, and so on and so on. So these 4, the 4 on the outside, are going to have the same amount of water before you put the paper towel in. And before you put the paper towels in, make sure that you put the same number of drops of different food coloring into those 4 cups or glasses. This one is going to have nothing in it. And I want you to predict what will happen with this one. Do you think that anything will happen with it? Or do you think that's where the crawling of the water will stop? So if you do the experiment, which I hope you do, if you take the challenge, please share it with us on social media at Meridian LABrary, or email me at Kathleen@mld.org. So here is our walking water experiment, but I have not put the paper towels in it yet. I wanted to take a second to think about how I might have done this differently. So what would have happened if I would have put, say, this glass here and another glass here? So the water would have had to walk from here into here and from here into here. So the yellow and the red together would have made a color. And the green and the blue together would have made a color. And then, of course, all of the paper towels at their apex or at the top of them are going to make a different color, or are they? So let's start the experiment. For our purposes, we need 4 paper towels, right? Okay, so remember this one's empty. I have about 6 drops of food coloring in each of the glasses of water. Should happen pretty quickly. Let's watch. So we can see that the water and the food coloring is crawling up or walking up the paper towels really, really quickly, but it's not descending. Thank you so much for joining us today for LABrary. And hopefully I will see some comments or some shared experiments from those of you who have taken up the challenge for this week. And I will see you next week here on LABrary. Thanks again for joining us. Bye-bye.